to a new episode of Vultures and Banter. I'm your host, Tyler.
And I am Nick. I'm here. I'm ready to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, and we are talking about some cool stuff. We are going to do another getting started video on Krieg.
That's true. We're still trying to be the sort of noob friendly thing, and I think that Krieg really popular nowadays. We may have missed the boat just a little bit, but
Oh,
now that
we're
we kind of
so
have Oh yeah, but now that we have a better idea of like, okay, we've seen some of the stats, we've seen some of the paint jobs people are going. Now we can get to the point of like, all right, the big army releases out. Eventually, you're going to have the individual releases for the units, right? And so, in preparation for those individual releases, maybe giving you some context as to what to look for and how to get into it overall. Not just hobby, but also like, lore, flavor, things like that.
Yep. And if you're not familiar with this, we have done a previous video in the same style. It was on Blood Angels. This video is to basically serve as a one-stop primer because it's hard trying to find all the lore videos, book recommendations, maybe like a thematic army list and all that. And we will cover all of that in this video.
Yep, it's your one-stop shop, and then when you want to expand, we'll give some information at the end.
Mm-hmm. So we have 5 categories. First is who they are. This is, what the Krieg are, where they come from, their origins, all that. After that, we will talk about how they play in the tabletop, how to paint and model them. And then after that, we'll give kind of an army list and whatnot, and then we will do stuff for going forward. So like boxes you can pick up in the future, book recommendations, videos you can watch, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Well, in that case, who are the Krieg? Krieg is, well, all I know is that it's a German word for war, but they're like a fan favorite. Why are they so popular?
Real quick, before we get into the main chunk of the video, I did just want to say that this video is dedicated to, I guess, one of our fans. That's a weird thing to say. But somebody in the Discord had reached out to me to basically let me know, or he was asking if we could do a shout out for his friend who is currently in a hospital battling leukemia. And we have no problem doing anything like that, but I kind of wanted to do more than that because it just doesn't, I don't know, it feels, it's not enough. He's a fan of Krieg. We thought this would be fun to do. We even made a little card, and I'll go ahead and put it on screen. As of recording this, we have 62 people that signed it, and this video is dedicated to him, and I hope he enjoys it. It is also, I don't know if it is his birthday yet or it's past, but it is sometime around here. So happy birthday. And best of luck. Get better soon. Anyways, Krieg. Who are they?
Well, that's a funny question. They are a fan favorite. Everyone loves the Kriegers. Everyone loves the trench warfare. I think they have I think part of the reason people love them, they have such a strong identity.
It's a very 40K identity.
Yeah, it's so strong to the point where it's not like, oh, they have one gimmick. Their gimmick is so recognizable that 40K fans, when they see like a gas mask or when they think of like World War I, it's like, it's just like Krieg. Like, it's so like specific. And I think the best way...
He's got the Krieg weapon. He's got the Krieg weapon. And it's a shovel.
Oh, shut up. We already did a video about why that's stupid and lame and dumb. But speaking of, like, Krieger stuff, I think the best way to go about them is to explain, like, how they became the World War I infantry people. How they became trench warfare. Because this is space war. Why do they do the whole trench thing?
Yeah, why build a trench and a bunch of artillery batteries when you can just, drop a rock on them?
Exactly. And, if there's one thing I learned about World War I, it's that a lot of people died for not a lot of strategic gains. And that's a big theme of theirs is the, I don't want to say
The
reckless sacrifice.
atonement, the
Yes,
the willing to sacrifice themselves.
exactly. And that has to do with their history. Tyler, do you know a lot about Krieg backstory stuff?
So I know kind of as much there is to know about them because, and that's not me bragging, there only is really like two Krieg books. Um, but I have read Krieg. That's like their go-to book, and that has all their history leading up to them becoming the actual Deathcore Krieg.
Yeah, it talks about, what is it, like Jurgen and him like betraying the emperor and stuff like
I think
that.
it's a
All that stuff.
Urine.
Urine?
Yes. Hang on. Let me look it up. Colonel Urine. Yes, Urine. Jurten.
Who's Jurgen? Oh, Jurgen's the dude from Caiaphas Cain. No,
I've
I was
never read it,
thinking,
so I don't
I
know.
was I was thinking of the smelly man with a melta gun. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I was talking about someone else. Uh, the point is, Krieg used to be like, hey, just Imperial world as we do, and then one guy was like, the Imperium is cringe.
I don't like
And
paying taxes. What is
yeah, who like,
what do you mean I have to pay you to protect me? We've never been attacked. We're fine.
oh yeah, it's tax season right now, and honestly, I get it. I get it.
Become ungovernable.
Become ungovernable post Big Duck. And post Big Duck they did because whew, there was a big civil war that happened where the governor, I think, was like, hey, I want to make sure we stay loyal to the emperor. And everyone else was like, no. And so
No.
they blew their planet up over it.
So so let me do the more in-depth explanation. So the planetary governor decided to succeed from the Imperium with the kind of encouragement from his, I guess, second in command. It's been a while since I've read the book, and this video was kind of rushed, so I've not been able to get the details exact. But he succeeds. He's like, no, we're not paying our taxes anymore. Colonel Urine is he's a commander of sorts. I don't know what exactly, but he has a regimental force, and he is called back to the planet where he finds out that the governor has succeeded. The Imperium's got other issues and things to worry about, so they're like, we'll deal with it later. And Urine pleads for help from the Imperium, and they say, good luck. So he then starts launching a bunch of guerrilla warfare on the governor. They're kind of really stationed only in like one hive city. There's war going on across the planet, but he's focused on this one hive city. Cut to his daughter also works for the governor. She is like becomes a spy to infiltrate Urine, but then she's like, "No, Dad, I really do love you." And then she goes to go kill the governor. Governor dies. Then it wasn't really the governor that was leading the war. It was the second in command. It was the evil assistant trope. And then Urine's like, hey, listen, we've been doing this for a while now. Can we not? And he's like, no, I'm not going to surrender. And Urine's like, okay, final option. Yes or no? He says no. Turns out Urine has been fortifying this hive city for a very long time. And his tech priest buddy found a bunch of nukes. And he launches a bunch of nukes in the atmosphere, and that is the worst place to launch them because now the entire planet is radioactive. And everybody's not having a good time. But since you're prepared for this and everybody's equipped with gas mask and the city's pretty, he's got an underground part to the hive city, they fare better than everybody else. And at this point, they're kind of starting to get some foothold. They're winning. Then Yurton is getting old. On his deathbed, the tech priest is like, hey, we still need you. You sure you don't want to, do some cool admech stuff? I found this cloning machine. And he's like, no, that's heresy. But then this isn't explicitly stated, but he gets forced into the cloning tube, and a good portion, or all, I think it's just a portion of Krieg soldiers today are urine, and that is kind of hinted at the book, because when the Imperium comes back to Krieg, the commanding officer refers to himself as Yurton. And that is the history of Krieg in like, I don't know, like 2 minutes. I think it did pretty good.
Yeah, that sucks. Like,
It's pretty
wow,
grim
being
dark.
here sucks. You are a clone of a dude who feels bad for betraying the Emperor, so you feel bad about betraying the Emperor. And you know, if static emplacements is how you won the Civil War, hey, if it ain't broke,
Don't fix it.
there you go.
Also,
And
this is
so,
something I want to point out real quick. So the whole atonement is about like their planet succeeding and whatnot, right? But I think there's another portion that I think a lot of people missed. I think is possibly hinted at from the moment they're born. They've committed heresy. It's heresy for humans to be cloned like this. It's not, it's not good. So maybe part of their atonement is atoning for the fact they even exist, which is, oof.
man, you ever feel guilty for existing? Me too. Me too, bud. I get that.
Especially with taxes.
Yeah, so,
Everyone
well,
wants you to feel guilty.
there's something that gives some good context about like why the Kriegers are the way they are. What caused them to be so gung ho about, hey, I am just a tool to be used by the Emperor. It is not my place to decide the how and when. I just do what is called of me. And if I'm
Yep.
called to run into machine gun fire in hopes that the guy behind me makes it into the trench, then by God, I'll do it.
We need the grab the when the first man falls, grab the rifle and keep going bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's Stalingrad, but
Mm-hmm.
instead of World War II, we're talking about World War I. We're talking about Western Front static emplacement warfare. Because they're such a huge fan of bombs and artillery, if you're doing static emplacements, you need to shell shock the enemy. So their whole thing is weathering harsh conditions, not like death worlds with like jungles like the Catachans or like ice worlds like the Valhalla Winter Soldiers. It's heavily irradiated, like desolate wastelands.
It is a trench warfare planet is the stuff that they're looking for. It's war that's been going on for too long, and somebody needs to really start laying out some artillery.
Yeah, you don't call the Death Corps of Krieg if you want a dynamic frontal assault where you take
That's
objectives
Cadians.
rapidly. Yeah, it's Cadians or Steel Legion. But I find that if you want to get, okay, this citadel is heavily fortified, we can't orbitally bombard it, we just gotta siege it, you send in the Death Corps.
Mm-hmm.
If you
And
know it's gonna be rough.
they have a lot of cool assets to their disposal for that. So do we want to go into tabletop and models, or do we want to talk a
Well,
little bit more about the lore?
let's get into models and some like iconic units of theirs. Because if you're gonna start doing Krieg, and you don't want to do just, oh, I'm doing Astra Militarum with a funny hat, what are the like Krieg things? What are the model kits that kind of sell who the Death Corps Krieg are?
Nick, can we have a in memoriam bit first, because we lost so many cool Krieg models.
I mean, they got refreshed.
It doesn't
What
matter. It doesn't
what did we
matter. Where's
lose?
my 80s breaching drill?
Oh, shut up.
No, like seriously, like Krieg has so many cool Horde World stuff that it's lost. You can still find it online in some places. I can't really disclose where, but
Hey, let's focus on the here and now. Let's
Yeah.
focus on the stuff
Well,
you can
no,
get
no.
that's in plastic and well sculpted, both of which are not true for the Hades.
Okay, but like also the mole launcher, where? Hello?
Tyler, I feel like you're just too guard pilled. I think you need to realize that the Hades Breach Drill was funny, but now we have like, oh, they're actual guardsmen. We can have actual kits.
Okay, but they could have left the mole launcher.
Dude, I don't want to play Deathcore Krieg to get the fucking Underminer from the Incredibles, all right?
No, that is so cool.
I
It's
don't,
so cool.
no, I don't want to be the Underminer. If I want to do that, I just play Tyranids and play High Fleet
Oh,
Jormungandr. I
have you
don't
seen the
care.
model? The guy is like getting ready to shoot this fucking RPG into the ground, and the guy behind him is typing into a computer on his back.
I don't
Oh,
care. I want to see cannons. I want to see howitzers. I want to see infantry jumping the line. That's what I want to do.
all right,
So,
all right. Let's look at what models we have been given then. They're a refresh because some of these are refreshes.
yep. So, first of all, you have the classic. It used to be called the Veteran Guardsman kit. I think now it's just called the Deathcore Krieg kit.
Yeah, it's just Krieg.
Yep. It is typical infantry. There's 10 of them. They have Lucius pattern las guns, which, by the way, my second favorite las gun, Mark. The Lucius pattern las gun is sexy.
It
It is.
is, but I don't know. I like the default las gun more.
In the
I'm very
41st
Cadian pilled.
in the 41st millennium, any weapon with a wooden stock is just drip. It's
I think
such
since the
drip.
wood is so rare.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's such drip. And so they have these long they kind of look like bolt actions, but they're las guns, like
Yep.
wooden stock, really, really long compared to the other rifles, often with bayonets, so you can use them as spears.
And they can
You have those
charge up.
guys. Yeah, you have those guys, and then if you don't want just the frontal charge of infantry, you can also have some like trench raiders. And so the trench engineers came out recently, which are we talked about this in the Krieg historical influences video. I
Yeah,
don't know.
which it okay, so okay. We lost that video. I will
God,
try to recover it. Otherwise, we will have to reshoot it. So there is your spoiler for potential video in the future coming out.
Tyler, do you know how much freaking research we did for that video?
No, we still have the research, so I will try to recover it. If not, we'll just record it. But real quick,
Whatever.
before we move on to other units, I want to mention that this isn't just like a reskinned Cadians. They do have some differences. For instance, the Cadian shock troops, they have more step weapons to choose from. You do get the long las with the Krieg, but the real cool ability is that they can bring some Kriegsmen back. I think it's like D3. So they're supposed to be a little bit more resilient than just Cadians.
Yeah, the Krieger kits and the Cadian kits, like the big difference is, I mean, rules change based on edition. So like blah 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 blah, that can happen. But I think the Kriegers are mainly focused on not being as, hey, we're gonna give you a bunch of special weapons and go and take that objective. It's more along the lines of you are holding this position, you can weather the storm, and then when you need to, you can hop over the top. But mainly Kriegers are meant to stay in one place rather than dynamically charge objectives as much.
Mm.
Yep.
Speaking of dynamic units, do we want to cover their elite infantry, their stormtrooper unit?
Those are the trench engineers. They're pretty cool. They have close combat weapons and shotguns. They are much closer range, which fits a lot with their like tabletop rules, which we'll get to a little bit later.
And it's the whole vibe of, going over the trenches.
Right. And so I think the three big like vibes of Krieg. One vibe is just mass infantry in the trenches. The second vibe is like big artillery and cannons. And the third vibe is, for some reason, cavalry.
I love my horses in the 41st millennium. You know what? Tangent. I just bought the new Astra Militarum Combat Patrol. Best combat patrol ever. I'm on record for stating that.
Tyler, we have such bad takes already, dude.
I have 15 horses in my list. Fight me.
Our default paint scheme list got roasted. This is your worst take. I don't care how that video did. This is your worst.
Give me fortifications and horses, GW.
Dog, you're giving up 20 Cadians, a Sentinel, and Field Ordnance batteries
I don't care.
for funny horse.
I
Ugh.
don't care. Funny horses are fun. Yeah, you can't say anything. You don't like squigs. You want to understand.
That's true. I don't really like squigs. I like the junkyard. I like the I like mechanized things. I like things with gears.
Well, if you like things with gears, the combat engineers do have a remote mine. It's a little um
Dude,
it
it's the freaking like remote control
yeah, it's the World
bomb.
War Two. Yeah, it should have been World War Two. It's a little German, drive underneath the tank and explode. It's pretty cool. It does like D3 or 2D3 mortal wounds, depending if it's vehicle or infantry. It's pretty nice. I think it
Uh
did get nerfed. Oh, and you do get free grenade stratagems plus
yeah.
Scout 6.
I was also gonna say that it reminds me, if you ever play Rainbow Six Siege, it reminds me of Flores' little remote control drone.
Flores' ability sucks.
Listen, man, I haven't played Siege in years. All I remember is that it was situational, but when it went off, and it was pretty funny. I also
Yeah.
have a friend who's bald with a beard and wears those glasses. Every time I see Flores, I'm like, oh my god, it's Zach. Hi.
Nick, what do you think I mained?
In Siege?
Yeah,
On attack or defense? What do you want to
attack.
guess? Attack. Ooh. I'm gonna guess someone with an LMG. I feel like you're an LMG engineer.
I mean, I
So
like LMGs in other games, but not in Siege. No, I played Montaigne for 6 months straight.
this freaking guy. Oh gosh. No wonder you like fortifications, you bastard. Get a load of this guy. Bro walks in. The GI Jane operates with a ski mask with the fish lips poking out. Be like, oh hey guys, I'm gonna show up with a shield and fight this guy.
With your
I'm moving
ability,
on.
I can get shot a lot. Thanks.
Ugh. You probably like Clash on defense too, didn't
I can
you?
feel the disgust in your voice at me. It's really hurtful.
Ugh. That's okay. I played Nook, and then on defense, any trap operator. I love setting traps. It's so funny.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, back to 40K. Um, we did get a new Krieg. We got our like first named Krieg model. Lord Marshal
Yeah.
Dreer. He's
Oh yeah,
basically
dude.
just Krieg Leonatus. He's pretty sick. I don't know
The
any of his lore because I don't think there is any yet. I'm sure there'll be a book soon.
he's the cooler Leontis.
No, no, he is not.
Listen,
Where's his robot horse?
wait until he gets a book. It's gonna go so off. It's gonna go off.
Yeah,
Trust
the
me.
Leonatus book was kind of just mid.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
It's no Death Worlder.
Does Dreer have any cool rules?
Ah,
I don't
just
think
generic stuff.
so.
Nothing too wacky. The point is that he represents the third sort of wing of Krieg. Krieg is like infantry dudes, then the cavalry dudes, which are the Death Riders. Death Riders are people on horses. They usually have either sabers or explosive sticks. And then the third wing is the artillery. That's where you bring your like mortars, howitzers, cannons, and that's how you run your games. You
Hmm.
have your artillery in the back, hammering the enemy. You have infantry to move up after they're done being hammered. And then, when you need them, you have some Death Corps coming in from strategic reserves to flank the enemy and poke them.
I will say Death Riders look really fun because they have a special rule where if you move your unit, like the enemy moves their unit within, I think, 12 or 9 inches. After they move, you can make another move of 6 inches just when, like, right after.
Oh yeah, it's a reactive move. They're
Yeah,
they're known
it's pretty
for
sweet.
yeah. I think the Admech the dogs Cerberus Raiders I think are the same thing.
Whatever. It's some gobbledygook.
Yeah, point is that they're pretty neat. My second ever Warhammer game, I played against Kriegers on Tabletop Sim, and I learned what strategic reserves were that day. Because I'm like, why do you use strategic
Why did you
reserves?
just
And then
bring
I
in
learned.
40 fucking Krieg on the side of the table?
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I learned that Death Riders coming from strategic reserves can be
Mhm.
a thing.
We also have a Krieg version of the Cadian Command Squad. It's pretty generic. It does have some pretty cool war gear options. I think it also can bring back some models. But so can the Cadians.
Yeah, it's rules change, rules change. It's very
Yeah.
much like they're a leader for your dudes. They have like a cool commissar. They have a cool like little field chemist. It's the idea that their command squad looks different than the Cadian squad, not just based on looks, but they also have different roles.
Mhm.
The Kriegers have a like field chemist. Kings
Yeah.
don't have that. You know,
Yeah.
it's a different, not only flavor, but it's also different in terms of what the models actually look like, and you can tell just based on what models are included, what they're doing. So really, if you're looking at, hey, what are the key models to a Krieg list? You have all of them if you just look up the Krieg models, like
Yeah.
the artillery team and
The
the
heavy weapons are the last ones we haven't covered.
yeah, Krieg heavy weapons and artillery team are pretty good for like your backpoint stuff. You have your infantry and you have your death riders. That's all you need.
So the Krieg heavy weapons scene, I'm kind of sad because I don't think they have a auto cannon, which feels weird. I could be wrong.
That's true, but
Yeah,
they
no, they have
have
las cannon, a heavy flamer, and the heavy stubber. And oh my god, the heavy flamer is it's pretty strong.
I am going to steal that bit. I want more flamers for my cool stuff. I had to
It's pretty
kit
sick.
bash. I had to kit bash a giant flamer for my war rig, and now I want to just make another one, and I'm going to steal it.
Mhm. And then lastly, the artillery team is really cool. It's a really cool model. However, some of the gun options are pretty bad. If I had to pick, I would pick either the heavy mortar or the siege cannon.
It doesn't matter, dude. Just go based on what you think is cool. If you want to do the big howitzer, bring the big howitzer.
Yeah,
No one gives a shit.
always pick the model you like more because the rules are gonna change.
Absolutely. So Tyler, that was the model sculpts.
At least the specific Krieg models. What else would work with Krieg?
I think honestly, since we have infantry kind of in hand, if you want to bring mobile artillery, usually emplaced artillery fits the Krieger vibe more. If you want
They
to bring any of
do.
the Chimera tanks like Wyverns or Manticores or
That's all
things where
fine. Stuff like that is even mentioned being used in Vrax. Also, Lehman Russes are very plentiful in Krieg as well. I wouldn't say so much Rogodorns or Sentinels, though. I haven't,
that's
that
correct.
doesn't feel right, and I haven't seen them being mentioned.
Yeah, you're looking at Lehman Russes as your main battle tanks. Maybe a Baneblade. I know that in the Siege of Vrax,
Oh, yeah, they do have Baneblades. Yes.
the Kriegers used a few Baneblades to break some lines. Because, you know, if you're doing trench warfare, tanks helped break up that stalemate. You know what I mean?
So lastly, let's go over, because they do have like their kind of own detachments. I have not really
Oh,
looked into this at all.
we're going to tabletop.
I mean, that we're kind of already talking about tabletop. We
Sure,
were
yeah.
covering models, we're just kind of in between the Krieg and the tabletop, but now we're going like full tabletop. So let's go
Sure.
over the Siege Regiment detachment.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. For those who don't know how codexes work, whenever an army gets their rulebook for an edition, they're usually like 4 to 8, depending on what army you're doing. Different play
be optimistic.
styles, different vibes for how to play your game. In the example in Space Marines, you can have like a melee focused detachment, a close range fire detachment, or a long range fire detachment, that kind of thing. In Imperial Guard, there's actually a detachment that's heavily flavored for Krieg, being the Siege Regiment. And the Siege Regiment is pretty simple. Their main army rule is that you select a number of units on the board and they get shelled. Either you shell the enemies with Incendiary, you shell the enemy with, was it Incendiary? Oh, with a Creeping Barrage,
Or smoke
you
shells.
you shell yourself with smoke shells so that they don't see you coming, basically.
Go shell yourself, Nick.
Yeah, shell myself now. Now that's all well and good. Their stratagems is the kind of things you can spend like strategic points on. They're mainly focused on infantry getting close. Lots of their stuff relies on, okay, go over the top and stay in place. You can get bonuses to staying in melee and still shooting. You can get bonuses to shooting within half of your normal weapons range. You can get bonuses to move forward through over the top to try and get into the enemy's lines. Their whole vibe is that their detachment rule debuffs the enemies so they're less likely to repel your advance. And then your stratagems are just, hey, Infantry, move forward and stay in place.
There
I don't
also
care
are
that you're
some
toughness 3.
stratagems for like resilience. Like one of them, it makes your like an infantry model or unit like have a chance to fight after death and stuff like that. But it's very focused on buffing and moving your infantry, and at the same time slowing theirs down.
That is true. And actually, there are no stratagems that affect vehicles. All of them are for infantry and even platoon units. So, really, if you're playing Krieg, you want to bring as much infantry as possible with just enough heavy guns to sort of back them up because your rules probably aren't going to help your big guns that much.
Yeah, but at the same time, a Lehman Russell on its own with a no buffing is still very competent.
Oh, yeah, like you should totally bring one or two, and you should definitely bring some
Just
big guns,
don't make
but
it like a good chunk of your army.
exactly.
Make
Like
it a
this,
small portion for mid range to keep heads down, but not that's not where your firepower should be coming from.
exactly. So you are bringing mass infantry and trying to select when to make your push because you're going to be spending your command points to get in close, hit the enemy, and then decide, like, okay, do you want to focus on making the enemy have less cover? Do you want to focus on slowing the enemy down so you can prepare more? Or do you want to focus on when it's time to push, giving your dude stealth so you don't get shot immediately? You know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. When we were covering units and models, we did talk about like some stuff that works for Krieg, but I want to get a little bit more specific. Like some really flavorful good ones that you can choose. In terms of like the Bane Blade variants, is it the Bane Hammer? Bear with me because there's too many Bane Blade variants.
Oh,
Uh,
you're talking about like loadouts and stuff for models?
Kinda, yeah. Um, the Storm Sword, I think, is the Siege one.
Uh no, I think you might be talking about the Bane Sword. The Bane Sword is a Bane Blade variant that has a Quake cannon, which is basically, hey, you take a piece of rock
Yes,
from a
yes.
planet that got exterminatus, and then you slam it at a wall and it'll break. It's called the Quake cannon, and it's
And
awesome.
it has a really cool rule. It can force a battle shock test, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
cool. The gun itself is like, what was it, 4 flat damage or something like that. It's pretty
yeah,
saucy.
it's okay. It's not the best variant, but it's not terrible. It's also I think one of the cheaper ones. The Wyvern is a pretty cool one. It's not super fitting, but it is mortar, so that's cool. Basilisk is definitely a good one for Krieg armies.
Hmm.
I will say it's not impossible to see, but abhumans aren't that common in Krieg armies because they aren't
No.
really like grown on Krieg, but it's not like you can have an ogre and join a Krieg regiment. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, they won't get the platoon keyword, but you can still give them the trench fighters rule.
Mhm.
And trench fighters with Ogren, ooh.
Okay, so I send in my 6 Bulgrin.
Yeah, you want to give them a 4-up fight on death?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hellhound, super flavorful. That's awesome. Give me like 6 of them, please.
ab-
Um, Leaving
absolutely.
Russ
And
Demolisher is pretty fitting. I would also
yep,
say the Vanquisher, or not the
yeah.
Vanquisher. No.
And even if you don't want to do siege regiment, I know that I don't think recon element's gonna fit. You could try Hammer the Emperor, just do a tank list if you really want to.
Yeah,
But
there's you could do like a super heavy. Yeah, one of my things I was gonna do was like a super heavy regiment of like just 3 Bane Blades because you know
God damn it, Tyler.
just to do my knights list at home.
Well, hey, 3 Beyblade variants. That's a high point per dollar ratio.
Oh wait, one last thing. Third World, oh yeah, it is actually kind of cheap by the way. We did make off with 1 unit. We have we were able to keep the demolition vehicle. Woo! Let's go.
Oh, that's the real remote control
Is the
mine.
rear or CXD. And you can
Did you?
like put this thing in a chimera. So you can just like bum rush them with a chimera and then boom, a bomb.
Yeah, what you do, you put trench engineers in the Chimera. The Chimera gets a scout keyword. The Chimera moves 6 inches at the beginning of the game. Then next turn, you slam it forward. Cyclops demolition vehicle goes and then blows
I
up.
don't think you could fit both.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Trench engineers only come in a squad of like 5 or 10, right?
Um,
Chimera can fit
yeah,
11.
but this takes up the space of 7 models.
Ay!
Yeah.
Dang.
It doesn't do too much damage. It's not really that good, but it's so fine. And it's only 25 points. You might as well bring like 1 or 2 if you have some extra points.
That's true. It is one. I think it's like the second cheapest unit in the game.
Yeah. And whatever you do, do not buy it. Just print it or proxy it. Get a little like Hot Wheel. Actually, that'd be like way too big. I don't know. Find something.
I don't know how big it is. Just use a bomb squig.
They wrangled one.
Use the squig mine from the Rocket Truck Squig Buggy kit.
Mm-hmm.
It's so flat. It's so cute. I'm derailing this for orcs though. Let's move on back to Krieg. Is that all we want to talk about with tabletop?
I think so. I did make so what something I think I did on the last video. I don't know, but something I do want to do in these is kind of give an idea of what a cool thematic Krieg list could look like.
Sure,
And
with it.
I have a fun one.
Oh boy, here we go. This is your army. This is it.
Yeah, so
we
I
got-
actually sent this to Nick. He didn't see it yet, and I told him like, do you want to see it now, or do you want to just react? So this is his first time hearing about this too.
You
So-
gave me a hint as to what's in here, and I'm waiting
Yeah.
for it, but we'll see.
So firstly, I was thinking about doing something with the Krieg box. If you got it, it could definitely help a good chunk of this. Although there are a couple things I didn't use from that, but let's get into it. Characters, we only have 2, and I did want to make it only Krieg, and I didn't want to do named characters, so that's why Lord Marshal Dreer isn't in this. It is a Krieg command squad and a Lehman Russ commander, specifically a Demolisher variant.
Okay, cool.
So 1 order for your tank, or for another tank, and then I think only 1 order, but maybe 2. I haven't really checked because I only have the app and
Okay,
I don't have
a
the
leader
codex yet.
for your armor and a leader for your infantry. Got it.
Yeah,
That's reasonable.
30 Kriegsmen. It's not a
Fucking what?
whole lot, but it's a decent bit.
You said 40?
30.
30. Oh, okay. That's perfectly reasonable. Yeah. Do you bring
Yeah,
some
you
trench-
could go a little bit higher, but I wanted so this is kind of like geared for maybe a new person, right? Here's the thing about guard. I would always suggest, if you're starting like a horde army like guard, get your big models first, so you get like a big chunk of points up front. Because painting 30 Kriegsmen all at once is a slog. It is very time consuming. Plus, Krieg have more details and different colors than just your Acadians, but they're faces. So, yeah.
So
Anyways,
30 Kriegers. I assume you also brought some trench engineers?
yeah. So let's go
Oh,
into
cool.
like the elite infantry part. I did bring a 10-man squad of Krieg combat engineers. The reason why I do 10 is because I think if you do 5, you don't get a remote mine, and that's a pretty big part of it.
Fair, cool. All right, makes sense. This is looking pretty decent, dude.
Okay, well, here's where we go off the rails. So, or not quite yet. There are Death Riders. I do have 10 Death Riders. Death Riders are awesome. It's very good for mid-range, because as your enemy moves, you can move to counterattack and countercharge.
Are you doing
And
2 squads of 5 or 1 squad of 10?
I don't know. You could really do either. I would maybe say 2 squads of 5, but 10 is okay.
Okay,
Well, yeah, I
understandable.
don't know.
Understandable. All right, get some recon. I get that.
Mhm.
You still haven't mentioned the actual tank that the Lehman Russ is going to give orders to, and I'm concerned.
Okay, so I did 2 because I figure 3 Lehman Russ isn't too much of your points, and it's a good mid-range, brawler. So the commander's the Demolisher, and then I have 2. And these, I just kind of picked what is the most flavor for them. So first I did the Executioner, which is the plasma variant, because Krieg kind of used a good bit of plasma.
Sure, bud. Keep
It's
going.
flavorful. I see it happen. And then I did the Eradicator, because
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That's the one. That's the one I was expecting. Let's freaking
Yeah,
go.
it's free up there. Also, would do the Exterminator, but it's 10 more points, and that goes over the budget.
That's okay.
All
So
right.
okay, so I got two big tanks. Do you have any artillery?
Do I have any artillery? Do I have any artillery? So, firstly, the detachment is Siege Regiment. And going into artillery, we have 3 artillery teams.
Woo! Yeah! That's
my
a
kid's
Krieg
done,
list.
Um,
Oh, that's good. That's
then
good.
we have 2 Basilisk
On top of the artillery team, you'll
on
love to
top
see
of
it.
it. And then, Nick, I'm going to blow your mind. Ooh, do I go for the less crazy take or the more crazy take first?
Okay, so Basilisk, are you gonna get like a Hydra for like anti-air or something?
Hell no. Intent.
Oh,
What do you
yeah, that's
want?
fair.
Do you want the
Yeah,
crazier take, or do you want the more sane take?
just hit me with the crazy one. What did you come up with?
Okay. So I have a fortification.
Tyler, I'm gonna strangle you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I have an Aegis defense line, and I have a very good reason for this.
an
Um,
Aegis defense line in the year
yeah,
of our Lord 2025.
it's the best model. I don't care what you say.
I need you. I need you. I pray that you actually justify
Okay.
this.
So here's the thing. It protects everything behind it, so you can put your excuse me. You can put your artillery behind it. You can mount some infantry for a charge, and you can proxy this thing and make a really cool trench kit bash. You can make this thing look like a trench. And I think
Dude,
that would be really cool. I think it'd be really flavorful, really fun, because then you artillery, like you're just sieging some orcs, and they're coming in, and then you blow the whistle, and you launch all of your Kriegsmen out of the trench with bayonets, and they all die, and I think that'd be really flavorful.
okay, two questions. One, is the Aegis defense line in stock on the Games Workshop website?
I don't know. I don't even know if they make it anymore, but I'm suggesting you kit bash a trench anyways, because that is cooler.
Holy shit, it is in stock. You can buy it for $80. Okay.
Just really expensive.
Second, yeah. Second thing, it's 145 points.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's so cool.
you could get 30 more points. You can get a Lehman Russ.
Okay, well, guess what, Nick? Do you know what else is 145 points? That's right, a Death Strike missile launcher.
You know, because Yurton used like
Yes.
nukes, I feel like this is more acceptable than the Aegis defense line.
Well, here's the other thing too. So here's what people don't realize. It's not really good for doing damage, but it's real scary. So you can use this and the artillery and the Death Riders to really crowd the enemy to where you want them to be.
Tyler, I'm so glad we're saying up front that this is a
This is
flavorful
a
list.
thematic flavorful list, not a
This is-
good list.
Oh yeah, no, this is slowly developed into dog shit. But like honestly, this is kind of a vibe. I
be really
understand. I see the vision, Tyler. I see the vision.
And then I don't know if I mentioned this, but also heavy weapons team, I would do like flamethrowers and put them specifically on the trench so you have protection for your artillery.
Yeah, for Overwatch, where like when people
Yeah.
approach, you just flamer them to death. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's it. That is my flavorful siege Krieg list.
Oh god, imagine buying that and then you have to paint an Aegis
Oh,
defense
man.
line.
It'd be wonderful. But you could just also kit bash a trench, and that'd be really cool because you can put barbed wire on it. You can do like some dead Kriegsmen for bits you
Yeah.
still have.
You could
can make
grab
some
like
mud.
you got like the I beam things, like the H beam things that you get from Green Stuff World, and you can make like rebar and stuff.
Yeah, you can make the
Okay.
rebar, you can make some trench board, you can even get like the puddle stuff from I don't know, whoever.
I think AK
Um,
Interactive does a bunch
Yeah,
of that
AK
stuff.
Interactive is what I use.
Honestly, if you want to do like a trench kit, like a trench like diorama, AK Interactive does the actual like World War II model tank stuff.
They got a good bit
Like
of stuff.
their stuff is pretty good for that. Um, well, I mean, if we're talking about hobby, do you want to get into painting them?
Yeah, so like we were saying, AK Interactive has a also none of this is sponsored. These are just pretty good products. AK Interactive has a lot of cool like terrain stuff. They have puddles, they have mud, your slop. Um, Also, I would recommend if you're doing Krieg stuff, maybe pick up some like little bits for trench boards. Pick up some like 64 scale barbed wire, or I think 32. I'm not sure which I got. I think if you're doing guards specifically, you should probably do 64. But barbed wire would be really cool for doing some basing stuff. Nick, is there anything you can think of?
Not in terms of basing stuff, but I was looking at the Krieg models. I think I have an idea of maybe what paints could be useful. Um,
Yeah, so if you're doing the default color scheme, they have their armor is a very like steel kind of just gunmetal color, and then they have like a blue drab uniform.
yeah, there's a couple ways you go about this. So I would say four colors, like the main colors you're looking for. You need something for the armor. In the case of like Lord Marshal Dreer has like that breastplate. The Death Riders have like breastplates and use something for their metal. You're gonna need a
Uh,
lightish grayish blue for their great coats. You're going to need something for their fatigues and their boots, like a dark sort of khaki thing. And then, of course, you need something for their lasgun wood and stuff like that. Um, in terms of like white and red for their gas masks, you can do that later. But I think the main things are the blue for the overcoat, the drab for their pants and boots and stuff, and then the metal. Tyler, I think the metal's pretty easy. You can use lead belcher and rattling grime. Bada bing, bada boom.
yeah, you
It's
don't
a
have to get super complex into it.
yeah. You know what really works for that blue? There's a paint by Vallejo, which is a really good mini paint company. Field Blue. Have you seen it?
I have now. Give me 1 second. Also,
Dog,
um,
it is like it's that's it. It's so good. I'm gonna put it in
oh yeah,
the
that is a nice blue. Ooh,
yeah. It's
voice crack.
gray. So it's not like Fenrisian gray where it's too light. It's a nice base coat where you can highlight it up with something like Hoeth blue or something later. It works really, really well. It's a nice, it's more gray than it is blue, but it's still blue enough to give that sort of Krieger vibe. I'm into it. I like it.
Also, since some new people might be watching this, general paint recommendations. They're all pretty good. I would stay away from Army Painter. Some of them are fine. They are really cheap, but a lot of them kind of suck.
I disagree. Army Painter metallics and
Army
speed
Painter
paints are
metallics are fine.
fantastic.
It's just like some of their base colors don't lay very well.
I agree. If you're looking for metallic paints, Army Painter is really good. They also have good speed paints. And if you're looking for like shades and washes, like, dude, Citadel, their
Citadel's
wash
pretty.
paints.
Their washes are good.
Oh God,
Vallejo
I
has
don't know where
really
I'd be
good
without
base
them.
coats, and I absolutely love Pro Acryl. Pro Acryl is so good. You can
Hmm.
airbrush it straight out of the thing, and
Yeah,
it lays so well.
yeah. Pro Acryl's really good. I don't know the Pro Acryl equivalent to this, but a nice dark metal color can also be done by taking black and then dry brushing metal onto it. That's usually a pretty good deal. Um, and then for your fatigues, you can do Citadel. They have a paint called Deathcore Drab. It's pretty dark for what I've seen from the official
It's
art,
really
but
dark.
it's I think what makes the Krieg colors the way they are is that it takes like blue and brown and then adds enough gray to them to like unsaturate them or desaturate them to
Yeah,
give that sort of washed out trench vibe. So that's why I think like Field Blue and Deathcore Drab are good options for this, you know?
I will say, for newer players, One easy thing you can one easy way you can paint these guys if you don't want to be super picky in the details and you want a grim dark aesthetic. If you have an airbrush, this is the easiest way. Also, make sure you go outside and wear a respirator because it's very, very strong. But you can do it with a brush too. If you get some like grime and airbrush it or paint it over, and then you take some distilled spirits and put on like a sponge and just wipe away, you get a really cool grimdark aesthetic. I'll put up my black Templars that I have on screen. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab the box and exactly what it is.
Oh yeah. I think there are quite a few painters who use this technique. I know that Tabletop Minions has used this, Nuka Kitten has used this. There's quite a few like hobby YouTubers that do the thing where they take a model, they just slather it with some like washed out like dark shade, and then they use mineral spirits and sponge it off so that it stays grimy in the recesses.
And you can take off like pretty much all of if you really want to, and it has a really long work time. Like you let it dry for like 1 or 2 minutes, and then you come hit it and you take off however much you want. I use MIG Ammo dark streaking grime. It's very good. Please God, do this outside with a respirator or somewhere with good ventilation, because it is very, very strong and it's not good for you.
Yes, you new player, go get your airbrush.
Go get your $170 airbrush, your respirator. Make sure you get a fitment test for it. Get a ventilation system, and get some bitches.
Tyler, I think the least likely of those and the most expensive is the bitches.
Yeah. We did good, Nick. We have very loving partners.
Yeah, that pay for our hobbies.
Yeah, that hit too deep. That hit my dignity really hard.
Hey, well, you know what? Those are our paint recommendations. I think all we got to talk about is lore recommendations, then we can get out of here.
There's really not much. Krieg and
There's
Siege of Rax.
Yep.
That's about it.
Are they both by Steve Lyons?
I have no clue. I will say I love Krieg. I didn't really like Siege of Rax. It has some cool moments. The story's pretty good, but to me, it felt kind of like a slog. So, take that with a hand of salt or pinch of salt.
A long, protracted 12-year siege is a slog. Crazy.
I like Krieg. I have them in my list, but I'm not a Krieg fan. I very much love my Acadians. But yeah.
So I think that the big lore sources for Krieg really came into their own during the Siege of Rax. Like it was, I believe, an Imperial armor book.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
you can find that. That does have it too, but that's going to be really expensive.
It was published 18 years ago. So good luck.
Yeah.
But it was published 18 years ago. It was basically like, hey, here's this thing about Imperial armor, and here's this thing about the Siege of Rax. And it talks about the Deathcore a lot. And that's how Deathcore got really famous to start out with. And then later, Steve Lyons wrote the Krieg book, which gets into how Krieg became the way it is. And then Siege of Rax just came out with this new thing. So honestly, I would recommend, if you want to get into the psychology of Krieg soldiers and get into why they are the way they are, I think Krieg by Steve Lyons is a good pick. If you want to get into, how they do war, what is their claim to fame, see if you can get the Imperial armor book. If that doesn't work, Jovanovich on YouTube has a fantastic series about the Siege of Rax with,
how do you spell that?
Jovanovich? Give me a second. I gotta look it up.
Because I know I'm not gonna be able to spell it, so I'm sure the viewer doesn't. I will say if you're
here we go. I got it. It's called Janovich. Janovich. Dude, that YouTuber has such an incredible series on the Siege of Rax. It has top-down maps and shows highlighted troop movement and everything.
he even has like 3D renderings and art on
If
ArtStation.
if I had like a teacher in school who presented historical battles like the Battle of Zama or like the Battle of Alesia with this, like it would be incredible. Like this is such a good resource. It's being spent on 40K.
Got
So like
that's good. You got like the proper like unit markers on the map and stuff. Holy hell!
I'm
This
telling you,
is.
he's him. It's so good.
It looks like I'm watching Arma gameplay. This is cool.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you should totally check him out if you want to get into the, hey, here's how the battle went, here's all the Krieger stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to learn about, I think, Colonel Tyborg. Maybe it's Sergeant Tyborg.
That's pretty close to what it is if it's not correct.
Ooh, Colonel Tyborg. Oh, what a Chad. What a cool guy.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I will say if your only experience of Krieg is like Instagram reels and whatnot, once you get later into the book, you're gonna be kind of let down. But they're still human. They're not, robots. So if you ride Siege Your Backs, you're going to, you'll understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, those are lore recommendations. In terms of expanding your hobby, if you want more detailed like tabletop advice, I know Auspex Tactics did a good breakdown of all the guard regiments and stuff like that. If you want lore, Janovich has a fantastic thing about the Siege of Rax. If you want painting advice, I don't think Tabletop Ready has a Krieg video yet.
I'm not
He's usually a good guy for like new people getting into painting. If you want just like generic painting guides, I know that when the Veteran Guardsman Kill Team first came out, the Games Workshop official website
They did a good
had a
video
painting
on it.
guide for them. Yeah, they did. It was really cool.
If you want some general entertainment, you have Adrek, Adeptus Ridiculous if you are not aware. Crack Duck is really, really fun. He does a lot of guard videos, but he does things from every faction. He's one of the best, if not the best YouTuber out there. If you want some lore, you have Luton. And I mean, there's plenty of other good ones. These are just like the ones that come to mind. Support all of your YouTubers. Just go through the rabbit hole of Krieg videos. I'm sure you will come away with no money, but a lot of Krieg models and too much information.
Well, that about wraps it up. Tyler, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
No, I think that's about it. If you want to join our community, our Discord is free. Yeah, I think we have like, how many members? We got a lot. Hang on.
10 billion members.
It's like 160, something like that. I don't know. I can't find it.
Something like
that. It is free. I'm never gonna put it behind a paywall. Other than that, we do have some cool bake stuff coming up very, very soon. Probably not this video, but the video after the next. I don't want to say for sure. But yeah, I think that's about it. Finally, again, this video is dedicated to one of our viewers. I'm going to give out his username. I don't want to do his real name though. It is Houdini. If you'd like to show some support for him in the comments with just, good wishes and prayers, I'm sure he needs it. But I hope that everything is fine, and I'm sure it will be. So get better soon. This video is hopefully gonna help you get your Krieg army together.
There you go. This one's for you, bud. See ya.
All right, that's it. Go watch our Lore Accurate Custodies video. Goodbye.
Yeah. Talis, blow us up. Talis,
blow it up.
Talis, send a death strike missile in our location.
Talis, we blow us off.
Ah!